There's a saying, when the devil ignores you, then you know you're doing something wrong. Wait a minute, I'm not done now. Conversely, when the devil comes at you, maybe it's because you're trying to do something right.
We slip into the studio lights while the applause track is still artificially sweet, and there he is, Denzel Washington, relaxed in that signature lean-back posture, eyes amused, fingers drumming the armrest like he's keeping time to a private joke. Across from him sits Piers Morgan, grinning the way Piers does when he smells a headline before it hatches. We can almost taste the smug anticipation wafting off his cue cards. The late-night format promises playful jabs and easy laughs, yet the atmosphere is already taut, the way fabric stretches one tug away from ripping. We sense something brewing under the glossy veneer, something more combustible than the host's usual brand of mischievous provocation.
March 27, 1975, a prophet named Ruth Green prophesied that I would travel the world and preach to millions of people.
The opening banter warms the crowd. Piers tosses compliments about box office billions. Denzel returns witty nods. Everybody chuckles on cue. Then the host's grin sharpens. "People say you're intense," he announces, drawing out that final word like a needle he plans to prick. The audience giggles, half nervous, half hungry. We watch Denzel's face still, not freeze. He exhales through his nose, a whisper of air heavy with centuries of familiarity. Cameras zoom, Morgan leans forward, and every heartbeat in the studio sinks to Denzel's measured silence. We are witnessing the moment before thunder. Denzel lifts one eyebrow, tilts his chin, and fires the rejoinder that detonates the night. You ever get tired of white men calling you intense when all you're doing is refusing to play soft just to keep them comfortable? His voice is calm, velvet-wrapped steel, designed to slice without spilling a drop. Gasps flutter across the rows like startled birds. The laugh track can't find its footing. For a split second, Piers looks genuinely winded, the way a boxer blinks after an unforeseen body blow. That micropause is the stuff viral legends feed on. We feel the temperature swing from breezy to blistering in the time it takes the studio light to flicker.
Are God's gift to us as men. We have to cherish that, not abuse it.
Silence follows, longer than any punchline, heavier than applause. Denzel lets it marinate, then seals the exchange with 5 words that ignite every timeline. "Maybe that's not my problem." A beat. "Maybe that's yours." The syllables land like gavel strikes, final and resonant. Somewhere online, a stopwatch starts counting the seconds before the clip rockets through social feeds, and by the 5-minute mark, hashtags are multiplying faster than PR teams can draft statements. We can practically hear keyboards crackling all over the planet, dissecting every blink, every micro gesture. The late-night set just turned into a cultural courtroom, and Piers Morgan is decidedly on the witness stand. Now the rumor mill cranks. Was Denzel tipped off? Did a discreet researcher slide him a dossier on Morgan's checkered tabloid past just in case? Insiders whisper that the actor arrived armed with a mental file thick with scandals. Ancient headlines about phone hacking, allegations of intrusive tactics, the infamous on-air walk-offs. We picture Denzel backstage, nodding politely during makeup while reviewing each skeleton like chess openings, ready to counter any provocation with receipts. The speculation adds spice. Maybe he never intended to play chess at all. Maybe he came to push over the entire board if the host crossed a line.
So for many, many years and decades, I did that through my work and through my philanthropy and through being a good guy and all of those things. That's not the case anymore.
As we rewind the show in our minds, we notice the studio laughter thinning after the clash. Audience faces shift from late-night fun to "are we safe to clap?" Denzel settles back, serene, almost gracious. He's not raising his voice, not flexing theatrics, yet the power balance has flipped like a switch. Piers tries to regroup, offers a tepid joke about Oscars. Denzel smiles. Sympathetic? Predatory? The ambiguity is delicious. We watch Morgan's grip tighten around his blue cue cards. Knuckles shading pale, the shot lingers on the corner where his thumb trembles. Live television rarely gifts such raw exposure. And we can't tear our gaze away. The feed goes to commercial, but the real action unfolds the moment red lights cool. Sources claim Morgan's production team descends in a hush. Frantic whispers about editing, legal clearance, potential libel triggers. One insider swears they overheard a producer sputtering, "Cut that chunk or we'll spend the week apologizing to every corporate sponsor alive." Another alleges Morgan retreated to his dressing room for a hasty conference call. Voice low, cadence brittle. We can't confirm every detail, yet the smoke alone hints at heat behind closed studio doors. Damage control is an art form, and Morgan's crew are brush-stroked veterans, but not even masters can repaint a moment the internet has already tattooed.
What my mother said to me was, Denzel, you do a lot of good, but you must do good the right way. She said, and you know what I'm talking about. Can't buy your way in. Can't love your way in. You gotta serve. You gotta do good the right way. So
Meanwhile, the online sphere combusts. Clips spring up across every platform, some slowed to parse facial microexpressions, others looped for comedic memes. Scholars weigh in on coded language, how intense morphs into a velvet muzzle when lobbed at black men daring to inhabit their full gravity. TikTok duets sprout with fans lip-syncing Denzel's line, adding their regional spins, turning a quiet correction into a battle cry. On Twitter, excuse us X, they're stringing Morgan's record like festival bunting. His jabs at Meghan Markle, the snide remarks towards Serena Williams, the decades-old allegations of phone manipulation. It's a virtual forensic audit. And in the swirl emerges that fabled skeleton closet. We crack open the archives and find Morgan's shadow prints everywhere. Mirror group headlines, hacking trials, tart commentary that aged about as well as lettuce in a heat wave. We recall his sworn statement during the Met investigation. This was further to a full witness statement I had already freely provided, he insisted, voice bristling with law-crafted precision. The line rings hollow tonight, a relic from a courtroom echo, snared in a glamorous talk show snare. Suddenly, the self-styled provocateur looks less wry and more exposed, as if Denzel has yanked a curtain and revealed a maze of flickering scandal footage behind him.
at 66, getting ready to be 67, having just buried my mother, I made a promise to her and to God to do, not just to do good the right way, but to honor my mother and my father by the way I live my life the rest of my days on this earth. I'm here to serve, to help, to provide. In every prayer.
We fast forward to the morning after, when tabloids splash screenshots across front pages, talk show pundits parse Denzel's tone like Talmudic scholars, and Morgan himself takes to his own platform to spin the narrative. He frames the exchange as robust debate, sprinkles charm, boasts about trending numbers. We sense the hustle, yet the more he defends, the more the footage replays, and the internet's echo chamber is merciless. Viewers aren't merely watching a moment, they're processing a pattern. And that's where the real trouble lies for a brand built on provocative swagger. The story widens. Think pieces erupt about the historical discomfort with unapologetic black poise on mainstream stages. We revisit Morgan's clashes with Meghan Markle, how he labeled her honesty as theatrical complaints, and recall Serena Williams when he mocked her expression of postpartum struggles. Suddenly, a connective thread glows neon. Morgan's humor seems to dart most viciously when aimed upward at confident black excellence. Denzel's poised retort has ripped the stitch hiding that design.
Strength, leadership, power, authority, guidance, patience are God's gift to us as men. We have to cherish that, not abuse it. I prayed this morning to be a better listener.
We zoom out further, beyond Morgan, beyond the studio, to the broader apparatus that applauds edgy jibes so long as targets swallow and smile. We're reminded of boardrooms that label assertive colleagues threatening, of headlines that assign loaded adjectives to certain voices. Denzel, with one surgical phrase, didn't just deflect a jab, he cracked open the codebook. We realize the power of calm resistance. No raised volume, just truth dropped with a velvet thud heavier than any microphone. It's the kind of blow you can't edit out, because the absence of anger is precisely what reveals the sting. Rumor number 2 surfaces. Did Denzel stage the moment as a quiet master plan? Word is he studied Morgan's interview style, predicted the intense bait, and rehearsed responses in a private green room run-through with his longtime publicist. A colleague claims Denzel even flagged the potential for Morgan's follow-ups, mapping them like a martial artist anticipating incoming strikes. Whether choreographed or spontaneous, the execution was flawless enough to fuel conspiracy threads. We can't confirm, but we adore the possibility, the idea that Denzel walked in wearing a tux and carrying philosophical nunchaku under the jacket.
I've been blessed, but that's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
And it's lonely up there.
Yeah.
You know, people don't know that side of it.
Morgan's allies scramble. Some call Denzel oversensitive, accuse him of pulling the race card, yet that framing crumbles when confronted with receipts. We recall the High Court witness, Alistair Campbell, who blasted Morgan for bank record intrusions. We remember Judge Levison branding Morgan's hacking denial utterly unpersuasive. The pattern is too noisy to ignore. If Piers built a career dancing on gray ethical lines, last night he stumbled across a fortified boundary. Denzel didn't shout him down, he held up a mirror, and for once Morgan saw the reflection televised. In production suites across Los Angeles, editors study the clip like prophecy. How should hosts engage fearless guests who won't bend into telegenic caricatures? Managers email notes about reframing adjectives. PR folks hurriedly schedule sensitivity webinars. Morgan's moment becomes a stealth training module within 24 hours. We witness the machinery twitch, adapt, evolve, a small screen ecosystem forced to reckon with its coded scripts. All the while, Denzel stays mostly silent online, letting the footage speak. He is busy elsewhere, prepping Broadway's Othello run, shepherding August Wilson film adaptations, attending late rehearsals. Friends claim he sipped herbal tea the morning after and quoted scripture about peacemakers. But silence isn't absence, it's omnipresent. When your words echo across every feed, repeating them is redundant.
Men, what I played in the movies is not who I am. It's what I played. The essence of it, which what you're talking about, is what I wanted to come through. But I'm not gonna sit or stand on any pedestal and tell you about what I had in mind for you or your soul. Because the fact of the matter is, in the whole 40-year process, I was struggling for my own, so.
We haven't forgotten the late-night audience either. Reports leak of viewers filing out wearily, shaken by the unmasking. One attendee claims she overheard crew members pleading to keep a full segment intact to honor journalistic integrity, only to be overruled by higher-ups, citing ad slots. Another insists there's unseen footage where Piers mutters a regret under his breath, a nugget producers deemed too revealing. The phrase hidden tape begins trending, feeding late-night fantasies about a director's cut that might yet surface, like contraband. By midweek, Morgan's brand managers float counter stories. They circulate blurbs highlighting his Irish heritage, his Catholic upbringing, his film cameos, anything to humanize. We read sympathetic pieces about childhood loss and describe his early hustle in tabloid trenches. Yet every sentimental note stumbles against Denzel's clip, radiating authenticity. It's a duel between curated narrative and lived moment. And the latter wins in meme-driven culture wars.
Everybody has different gifts. I've been blessed with money. Some have love, some have patience, some have kindness. Men, whatever your gift, you know, society is forcing success down our throat, comparative success down our throat. You know, I don't know if the Bible says it, but it's somewhere it says in the last days we'll become lovers of ourselves.
It's in the Bible.
Meanwhile, think pieces praising Denzel's surge. Writers hail his composure, call him a legend using measured gravitas to outmaneuver a seasoned provocateur. They pull quotes from his Esquire interview, especially the line, "The biggest moment of my life was when I was filled with the Holy Spirit." Some critics argue that spiritual center fortified him to withstand any televised prodding. Others tie his newly minted minister license to the moral clarity we saw flicker on screen. Hollywood insiders speculate on ripple effects. Will Denzel's peers emulate the strategy, walking into interviews prepared to pivot jabs into social commentary? Publicists weigh risk versus reward. Viral fame is ratings gold, but hosts risk reputations if call-outs backfire. Agents predict a wave of intensity disclaimers in pre-interview briefs. One network allegedly drafts new guidelines banning loaded descriptors unless equal across demographics, an ironic concession to fairness that underscores how unfair the playing field had been.
What do you say to the men around the world who are watching this interview from someone who is their hero, regardless if it's from the screen?
Thank you. Stay on your knees. Watch me, but listen to God.
And Piers, he returns to his news desk like a boxer nursing bruises beneath normal-looking skin. Ratings tick upward, controversy sells. But whispers swirl about advertisers reevaluating. A streaming giant rumored to be exploring a Morgan talk show deal now reassesses brand alignment. The host tweets defiance, quoting Winston Churchill cliches about courage, but even his supporters sense a shift. It's harder to package cheeky bravado when an entire demographic sees a pattern laid bare. Then fresh whispers. An unnamed staffer claims the network's legal team advised Morgan to issue a partial apology disguised as reflection. He resists, citing personal brand. The standoff becomes a story of its own, fueling podcasts dissecting the stubborn anatomy of public apologies. We munch popcorn while commentators debate sincerity, optics, and the economics of contrition.
The position I have, the money I have, the stardom I have, the joy or pain or whatever I've given to people through the films that I've done don't make me any better.
Outside the media bubble, everyday viewers feel emboldened. Office workers call out coded language in board meetings. Students share the clip in sociology classes. We catch glimpses of high school debates where teens quote Denzel's line verbatim to teachers. The episode crosses from entertainment to social case study, living on long after the Nielsen numbers fade. We'd be remiss to ignore the meta angle. Was this a masterclass in strategic branding from Denzel? His film slate is packed: Gladiator, Equalizer sequels, Wilson adaptations. Yet instead of plugging projects, he delivered a cultural critique, and in doing so cemented relevance beyond blockbuster trailers. We note how easily the narrative now positions him as both Hollywood elder and moral compass. That brand synergy is priceless. Studios surely smile, and the conspiracy threads keep weaving. Some claim off-camera audio captured Morgan cursing the producer for booking Denzel without a friendly topics agreement. Others allege a rival network leaked pre-interview notes to set Morgan up. We sift rumor from fact, but the speculation itself is story gold, a maze of intrigue that keeps momentum roaring. Eventually, Morgan sits for a follow-up interview, his own seat now the hot one. A rival host presses him on implicit bias. He dodges, cites equal opportunity ribbing. But we notice his shoulders flinch when the word intense resurfaces. The term has mutated. It's no longer safe small talk. That's the power of a single rhetorical mirror. Once raised, it doesn't unreflect.
You get back up. Yes, I've been high up on the mountain. I've been blessed. But that's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
Months pass, yet the clip remains evergreen. It resurfaces whenever pundits slip coded descriptors into headlines. It pops up in late-night comedy montages about unforgettable interview takedowns. It's archived in journalism schools as an example of conversational microaggressions and real-time call-outs. And it still amasses views, each replay testament to a moment, unscripted, yet perfectly timed. In the swirl of aftermath, we peek at Denzel's ongoing journey. We see him at Broadway rehearsals, guiding young actors, telling them to protect their power. We spot him at Kelly Temple, quietly attending service, maybe jotting sermon notes for a future pulpit. We recall his decision to step behind the camera for August Wilson's remaining plays, a mission to amplify voices history muffled. His silence on the viral incident feels deliberate, a master of minimal strokes letting resonance speak. But for Morgan, echoes remain louder. His name now appears in op-eds about media accountability, potential guests demand assurances about respectful questioning, network execs weigh every adjective in teleprompters. We can trace that tremor back to one late Tuesday night and 5 words that upended the comfort of coded language. And we have to ask, will this haunt Morgan's career or catalyze a reinvention? Will he double down on shock antics to prove unbowed or pivot toward redemption arcs highlighting charity selfies and soft interviews? Hollywood loves comebacks, but audiences more than ever sniff insincerity. The ball is in his court, though the net looks frayed.
It's not over. Let them know it's not over. You get this clickbait bill got you, bit you. I didn't say I was retiring. I'm not retiring tomorrow. I said I have all these films to do. Yeah. And then I want to get behind the camera, which is going to take a year or 2 or 3. So do the math. Even if I did 1 a year, I think I mentioned 5 or 6 films. Even if I did 1 a year, which it won't be, but even if I did, that was 6 years. And I'm 70 in a month. That's 76. If I direct a movie after that, that's 2 to 3 years. That's 79.
We also wonder about the domino effect on other hosts accustomed to needling under the guise of playful banter. Are they studying new rhetorical armor? Are producers coaching them to preface jokes with disclaimers? We suspect there's a Midtown conference room right now where executives screen grab Denzel's stoic gaze under a PowerPoint titled, "The Perils of Subtle Provocation." All roads keep leading back to the original question beneath Morgan's intense label. Why is grounded, confident presence framed as menacing when it comes in a black package? That's the conversation Denzel dragged from backstage into spotlight. And that conversation, once lit, can't be politely escorted offstage. We're living in its afterglow, seeing every future interview under its sharper light.
Well, no, there aren't a lot of great directors. I'll change that. Or maybe I don't know them all. And maybe, I just went fishing.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Now people are going to be on the phone like, we need Denzel in our movie.
Yeah, King Lear's available, just saying.
Yeah.
It's available, though I haven't directed.
Finally, we circle to the quiet hero of any broadcast, the red light atop the camera. Last Tuesday, it caught more than an exchange. It filmed a paradigm shift. We imagine that lonely bulb blinking in studios worldwide, reminding hosts that every word is a digital fossil ready for carbon dating by billions. The camera never blinks, it just records who does. And now, as the dust settles but the dialogue continues, we recognize the broader stakes. Confidence versus caricature, candor versus clickbait, identity versus ratings. Denzel Washington didn't just dismantle Piers Morgan, he exposed a system that thrives when some voices stay charmingly contained. We lean forward, wondering which host will test the old game next and whether another guest will shatter it in real time. So here we stand at the fade out, adrenaline still humming, questions still sparking. Did we just witness the night late night talk shows lost their immunity cloak? Are audiences finally done applauding coded digs? And will Piers Morgan ever outrun that moment where his own question boomeranged back into his lap? We'll be watching, you'll be commenting, because the story isn't over, it's only on commercial break. Think on that, tell us your verdict below, and until the next on-air tremor rocks our screens, we're signing off with a breathless grin and an even bigger appetite for the truth hiding between the jokes.